Welcome to the first extra butter of the season, and it's awesome! The sequel to the highest grossing R-rated horror movie of all time, It, Chapter 2. Jessica Chastain, Bill Hader, Finn Wolfhard, and the entire cast from the set. Also, John Travolta's most original role since Pulp Fiction. He is the Fanatic in The Fanatic. Also, another disposable another meaningful comedy from Netflix, Falling in Love. That more on this edition of Extra Butter. Hey, thanks for hanging out. Can't wait for you to meet these guys. We get together and talk about movies the way you talk about movies. You're joining a show that's seen in 168 different countries and territories worldwide. Yes. Don't scare me with the It merch. Speaking of It, the biggest movie of the fall, It Chapter 2. But for now, let's get to know these guys. You know him, you love him. He's playing Nashville's Zanies. At the moment we clear this show, it's Eric Clark. Where do we find your social media?
E. Clark Comedy on Instagram and also on Facebook.
Fabulous. You know her, you love her. She's world famous traveler, etc. Kelly Savannah Deaton.
Hey, Kelly.
I'm keeping this just so you know.
I know, this is funny. She's done everything she could to destroy this, so we would have to buy it.
Yeah, I've ripped off the ear. Anyway, Kelly Savannah Deaton.
There you go. Complaints, comments, concerns, TV market sound.
Makeup tips.
Makeup tips, because I need to blend the edges. I've got so many scars. If I took this makeup off, I'd look like a baseball.
Like Pennywise.
You like Pennywise. In the meantime, let's talk about the movie that people are going to see. It's the movie that closes out the summer.
Yes.
The #1 movie at the box office for the end of the summer, closing it out. It is Angel Has Fallen.
Angel Has Fallen.
Did
wow.
you like it?
I did. I was surprised Morgan Freeman is still the president.
I know.
His term is longer than Barack Obama.
I
Got good
know.
policy.
And he's 82 years old doing all his own stunts. I mean, the man is a legend.
Man, and Nick Nolte is in this movie
Another
also.
legend.
Gosh.
I will give you my review. My review is that watch it for the opening scene with the drones. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Watch it for Nick Nolte scenes. Pretty cool. You can take a nap. You can get some work done. Don't text in the theater, but step outside, come back. You won't be lost.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, these movies have a built-in audience, right? And people
Right.
go for the action. They go for Gerard. I went for Gerard. You're going to see it if you want to. If not, you'll wait.
I talked to Gerard about the fact that this character in this franchise, all right, I didn't bring up the franchise, but I said the character was a little road weary. Take a look. But you were under a lot of duress last time we see you in this movie.
Last time we see me in this...
Well, pretty much in almost any scene we see you in this movie, you got a lot going on.
Yeah, this is a rough movie for Mike Banning. He starts not in the best way, and I really like that idea is what does it actually take out of you, you know? And he has concussions, the doctor's saying anything goes wrong. You know, you have so many issues right now.
Right.
And then he comes into the biggest challenge of his life when suddenly the whole world turns against him and he has everybody trying to catch him or kill him. And he's not in the best physical shape, but that's also what brings out the true hero in him. It's, you know, he's tenacious and fierce and vengeful as well. And he's going to get to the bottom of who the hell's doing this to him.
You know what? You and I know something about Gerard Butler. Is it okay to talk about that a little bit?
Are you talking about the girl and the thing and the... No.
Right.
What are
We
you talking
know.
about?
Well, you know, he's a relatively single guy. We know personally a lot of people that have been with him.
Yep. I mean, no, I'm just kidding.
All right,
I wish.
let's get into safe territory.
He's
Hey,
a flirty man.
speaking of being with him, let's bring in all jokes. Hey, Tara Hitchcock, bail us out.
Tara.
Hey.
I'm married. This is news to me that I've been with Gerard Butler.
Right,
You
you
can
have not
window
been,
shop.
but I guess you can jump in on this. We personally know people that have been with him, and so it's safe to say that charisma that the world sees on the big screen, it's there in person.
Yeah, and obviously you and I have both interviewed him more than once. He does have charisma, and I really do like him. But as you know, this movie is beyond predictable and not my fave.
Ow!
Tara, so why did you not like this one? What went wrong?
Okay, listen, I am no brain scientist, but when you can figure out the entire plot within 2 minutes, the good news is filmmakers actually tell you who the bad guy is fairly early in the film, but I was way ahead of them. And the highlight for me, and tell me if you guys caught this working for a news station, somehow the presidential helicopter takes about 26 minutes to get somewhere, but the news chopper is right there.
Tara, it's a movie! It's just a movie!
That's the job.
All right.
I'm sorry. It was ridiculous.
All right. Look, I can tell we're beating a dead horse with this movie. So, Tara, you and I do agree on a movie that we should probably champion. Go ahead, tell everybody.
What, is it Brittany Runs a Marathon?
Yes! How awesome is this movie, yet no one I know has seen it?
I know, and I keep telling people to go see this movie. This is from Amazon, and I have to tell you, Jillian Bell, who we all know is a fabulous comedic actress, does a wonderful job playing this gal Brittany, who was the director's best friend. I know you've talked about the film. I was so inspired by this movie on so many levels. For the first time in my life, I actually think I might start running.
Well, Tara, thanks for calling us. The reception is really good today. We were able to pull you in strong.
Rabbit ears, adjust the rabbit. There you go, there you go.
Thanks for being with us, Tara.
Thanks.
Bye, guys.
Hey, wait, before you go, before we lose you, where do we see you? Where do we find you?
Instagram at Tara on TV Mark, and Facebook at Tara on TV, Twitter, Tara TV1.
Tara Hitchcock, ladies and gentlemen. Tara Hitchcock. When we come back, now it's time for fall's biggest hit. I guarantee it's going to be the biggest movie of the season. It Too. It ends, but it ends with a bang. We'll talk with the entire cast behind the scenes and on the set when Extra Butter returns.
All right.
Hey, welcome back. It is Extra Butter in a moment I've been waiting for. It is one of my favorite movies of the season. Actually, it's the very first movie of the season. We're talking about It Chapter 2.
Oh man, this movie has me scared to go to the carnival.
Yeah?
And
Right.
clowns, it reinforces it.
A lot of pressure.
Yeah, I love this movie because if you take away the scariness of the clown, it's just a good movie. Like, it's a really solid, good movie. It makes you want to recapture your youth.
What's funny, you said that about the first one. That
Yeah.
it was, you take all the scares away. It's a great coming-of-age movie.
Yes.
Now, were you worried that with this movie that it was going to be mostly the adult cast and you were going to lose the coming-of-age moments?
I thought that, but they even had to CGI, because the kids, they filmed that, 3 years ago?
Yeah.
So now the kids are growing up, so they had to CGI and make them look younger. That's wild.
They
So
had to
they're
filter them
definitely,
down.
they're definitely in there. So that's beautiful that they kept the kids and the adults, because the kids are hilarious.
The same filter they put on Kurt Russell to make him look for Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I guess they had to apply it, drag and drop it over
Yeah.
for this. All right, so back to the adult cast. I sat down with Oscar winner Jessica Chastain, and I was about to go, and some guy named Jay, but it turns out Jay Ryan has a huge following.
Yeah, is he the #1 when you search YouTube?
#1 Extra Butter YouTube search, Jay Ryan, on the Chinese food set, where they shot a creepy Chinese food scene that you need to see in this movie. Take a look. What's funny is that I noticed when you walked into the room, you start poking around at that, playing around with your food. Did you guys play on the set when all this bizarre stuff was happening?
That was one of the very first scenes we shot, was the scene at the Jade of the Orient. And it was funny because we hadn't really met each other, and we spent 3 days sitting around the table, eating Chinese food, improvising, laughing, drinking fake beer, and then being scared.
And fake shots. So you really see in the film us genuinely getting to know each other and reacting to each other and starting to warm up to each other in that Jade of the Orient scene.
Okay, I was skeptical. That casting's a little crazy. Everyone else kind of looks kind of like the same as their younger character, as the adult character.
Yeah.
But Jay was a little surprising because that kid, he's adorable, but
Right.
he's a little plumper.
Well, I mean, like you were bringing up Stand By Me.
Stand By Me, Jerry O'Connell.
Jerry O'Connell.
Definitely.
Kid.
Yeah,
It could happen in
we
real life.
definitely need to term that. That's a phrase. They got Jerry O'Connell, and that Beverly's my favorite character. So Jessica Chastain playing her is the best casting ever. I mean, they're like the same person. I know they did a lot of work with one another and observed each other on the set, and it's so cool to watch because you're like, that would be her in 20 years.
Nailed it. How are we feeling about Finn Wolfhard, from Stranger Things, growing up to look like Bill Hader?
Yeah, that's a little interesting. There was a funny story. Warner Brothers gave all of the adult cast pictures of their characters, pictures of Finn.
Yeah.
And Bill Hader said, I'm not going to put a picture of Finn in my dressing room trailer. That's a little weird to put a picture of a child.
That's how you get the authorities pointed at you.
Yeah.
That's how you get your
Yeah,
phone
isn't that
seized.
I could just see Bill Hader saying, no.
right.
So pass.
All right, so speaking of Bill Hader, I sat down with that entire branch of the adult cast.
Can I ask you a question though?
Yeah.
When you were sitting down with the cast, was Bill a little tired during that segment?
It could have just
Because I
been
got
you.
tired looking at it.
Oh, you watched the raw? Are you letting him watch the raw footage? We
Yeah.
edit that stuff. Yeah, even
He's not happy.
even with this highly edited segment you're about to see, he's still very tired. But at least he calls himself out for being tired.
Yeah.
That's the nice thing
Sorry.
to do to you.
Just nodded off while I was tossing to it. Take a look. It's one of the most epic horror movies I've ever seen, and the first one's no slouch. I mean, it's got some big shoes to fill.
Yeah.
Are you feeling it?
Yeah, I'm just tired. Just like, I can't feel anything right now. I can't feel anything. But yeah, no, I'm very excited.
Probably tired of talking about it long before
I
cameras
don't
started
know.
rolling.
Yeah, just like you're in bed going like, I read the book.
Oh my God, I'm
Oh my God, I read the book.
Oh my God, I'm chill out of fear.
What was he like? Bill was in Pennywise costume. He was fine. I didn't get scared when I.
Yeah, Mark, that was beyond awkward. You poor thing. But at least as awkward as that was to watch, he was pretty funny. Like the part where he'd say like, oh, I had to wake up. And I was, waking up having nightmares about press interviews.
Yeah, I can understand.
All
I
of
get
those
that.
guys probably feel that way, right?
It is highly watched on YouTube. If you want to watch the whole thing unedited, jump on our YouTube page, Extra Butter, like, subscribe, and while you're at it, comment about what you thought about that very interview going on right there.
So
All right,
awkward.
so I did get a comeback in a way in the form of his younger self, Finn Wolfhard. Want to know why?
Why?
All right, so I'm asking all the kids, I'm saying, where do you want to be when you're an adult? Do you want to be kind of where your adult version is? And most of them had pretty graceful things to say.
Oh, no.
But Finn Wolfhard, with his publicist out of the room at this moment, goes, I don't know if I want to be Bill Hader. He's divorcing right now. I thought, any moment now, someone's going to wrap this interview up. They didn't. Take a look. Then, if it worked out and Bill Hader was a pretty good snapshot of who you became, how would that be?
I'd be pretty happy, but Bill just got a divorce, so...
Well, you never know. All right, except for all that stuff. How about, do you have any, your character becomes a stand-up comic, and
Yeah.
I'm thinking that would work out for you.
That would be fun.
That was funny.
I mean, yeah,
You're right.
I probably wouldn't do well as a stand-up, but doing comedy stuff would be pretty epic.
Kids these days, so talented.
They say the damnedest things.
Darndest
I love
things.
that. I don't know if I want to be Bill Hader. He's going through a divorce right now
I love
on the
the
set of a
honesty.
movie, surrounded by 6,000
gosh.
publicists, and probably the most important movie in Warner Brothers catalog.
Yeah, that's okay. He's charming,
That's
though.
right.
So are all the kids in the cast.
I liked it. Didn't love it. It's a little bit long. I liked it though. Okay?
It is
I do. I
almost
like
3
it. I give it a
hours.
Facebook like.
I highly recommend the movie. It's no better than the original. It's as good. They did some really incredibly charming things in connecting the young and adult cast, and I love that it jumps back and forth, young and old, throughout the entire movie, and every pop-out scare is followed by a what?
A laugh. That's
Every single
time.
one.
Yeah, that's like, go see it. You have to see it.
I want to go
must
see it
see.
again right
Yeah,
now.
definitely.
Go see it too. It's awesome.
And buy this stuff.
We gotta
Or
buy
steal
that.
it.
'Cause it's got- Now we have to buy it. Hey, coming up in a moment. Speaking of creepy, John Travolta, like you've never seen him before, playing his creepiest character ever. One of the most original choices since Pulp Fiction. We'll talk about the Fanatic. He is the
Yes.
Fanatic next. All right, if you're just tuning in, we just got through talking about it, but you can catch all of those interviews from the set of It Chapter 2. It ends right now on our YouTube channel. Like and subscribe to Extra Butter, as in popcorn.
Do it.
All right, moving on to a movie that's probably going to be ignored, and you're going to have a hard time finding it. It's only playing on like maybe 500 screens nationwide.
Okay.
Good luck finding it, but it's The Fanatic.
Fanatic.
Let's talk about who wrote and directed this movie, first of all.
Fred Durst.
Fred
I know.
Durst.
How
that
crazy
the
is
most-
that?
This is what's creepy. He wrote it with John Travolta in mind. I'm just gonna drop that there. I don't know what that means, but
Well, it kind of works. It's one of his most interesting choices ever. It's the creepiest John Travolta role ever.
Is it the creepiest? I mean, the creepiest might have been when he was playing in Grease, right?
Why is Grease creepy?
A 28-year-old playing a high schooler. Come on, it's like
Yeah,
the,
all right,
like
go
the
on.
like the R. Kelly of the 70s.
Oh!
may
Yes.
everyone rest in peace.
Speaking of creepy, this movie is unbridled in the way that he lets them make him look like the most unattractive version you can imagine.
That
of-
hairpiece is horrible, Mark.
I know, it's more horrible than the hairpiece he's been wearing for the last 15 years. Which might be, all right, look, I'm not even trying to play him. I'm not even trying to be
Poor
funny.
John.
But do you think that's why he finally decided to shave and go
Yeah.
pitbull bald?
He looks great as Pitbull Ball. They're good friends in real life. He was in that
I know,
video.
that's
with
why he
him.
decided to do
I
it.
know, and I think Pitbull was like, "Look, we're friends. Let me break it down. Shave that."
John, come on home. Come home, baby. Do not have your hairline back here. Just shave it off, baby. It's all good.
Family
Poor
now.
John. Aw.
Family.
I just want to hang out with him and Pitbull. That would be the most. I mean, and Fred Durst. That would be the most random,
Yeah.
epic hangout.
I brought up Pitbull in the interview. Take a look.
Do you remember a time that you met someone that, despite being surrounded by the industry your whole life as a kid growing up, despite knowing the business and what you wanted to be and what fame is all about, that you still got that lump in your throat and you said, "Excuse me, I just wanted to meet you and I just could you."
100%.
Who would that be?
Okay, first of all,
let's see, when I was little, it was Jimmy Cagney. It was Paul McCartney and the Beatles.
Wait, you met Paul McCartney and the Beatles at a young age?
No, I mean that's
okay.
Who
did it?
Later, when I met them, that happened. What you're talking about. I was too little to have known them then, but that's right. Even Pitbull last year, or no, 3 years ago when I first met him, I was excited. I'm a fan of people. If I like how they perform, I like them as an actor, I get excited about telling them.
Sure.
You know.
So you mentioned Pitbull. By the way, the ball looks amazing on you.
Thank you.
It's working.
Thank
you. You have a rock star that's pretty much behind the camera directing this movie. How does that help a movie? Yes.
It helps it because he's a real visionary. Fred Durst is not only a brilliant performer and songwriter and video director, but he had a real vision for this movie, a real vision. And he had an even bigger vision to imagine my playing, not the film star, but to play the fan. I thought that was very insightful.
It's while talking to that guy, there are very few stars of the level that I talk to that I feel like I'm talking to someone doing an impression of them because they're so iconic.
Oh yeah, he's been around forever.
I love Travolta, love this
him.
role. So the movie is about a guy that collects, stuff like
Yeah.
this and shoves it in front of celebrities' faces saying, hey, could you shine my pop for me, please?
Yeah.
Not unlike the way it just sounded like. They're super creepy.
Creepy.
What's the creepiest scene in the movie for you guys?
Under the bed. Don't plot spoil,
Oh,
but
yeah.
there's an under the bed moment that we could have done without seeing. Oh, gives me the chills.
When he had him tied up was pretty creepy also.
Oh yeah.
There's a few.
Yeah. Let's not plot spoil
It's
anymore.
very unsettling.
Very creepy. Good luck finding it.
Support John either way. So if you don't make it out in theaters, you have to at least rent it from home.
Absolutely. Oh, speaking of renting from home, coming up in a moment, it is an instant classic from Netflix. Who am I kidding? It's a big can of Cheese Whiz. Regardless, you're going to click on it. You're going to watch it anyway. Falling in Love, starring
Christina Millian.
next.
Yes.
Welcome back to Extra Butter at our first show of the new season. We would be remiss if we didn't shout out to the men and women serving our country with the
Thank
American
you.
forces.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for watching us on AFN in 168 different countries and territories worldwide, as well as YouTube. What do we want you to do on YouTube?
Like
and
subscribe.
There you go.
Comment,
There
stalk
you go.
us, send us gifts, Venmo, PayPal.
Do none of that. However, if you are online, why don't you jump over to Netflix and do what?
Watch Falling in Love. See the
In.
play on the name In.
Right,
She
it's
wins
in with two N's.
Yeah.
She wins in In and goes to New Zealand.
If you go on Netflix and just put Falling in Love, you're going to get a movie from 1952, totally different flavor. You were the first of all of us to see it, and you
I was.
fell in love with this movie.
I did. It's a little cheesy, but let me tell you why that works. Because everyone loves that cheesy formula for a romantic comedy because you leave feeling, well, you're not leaving the theater, you leave your couch feeling amazing and you're like, I want that dream.
Hold on.
I want an in New Zealand.
We have a debate in the front row. Yes, you, sir. Did you have a question?
I mean, our rom-coms, I'm not a fan of them. Maybe because that hasn't happened in my romantic life, but I felt like this movie may have belonged on the Hallmark Channel and not Netflix.
A little bit.
It was, yeah.
I'll tell you this much. If you believe in chemistry in a rom-com,
Their
you're not going to
chemistry?
find better chemistry. I'm pretty sure these two hooked up.
I hope, well, she's pregnant with somebody else's baby
Oh,
right
good
now.
point.
But, I hope it's his. Take a look. When you first met in real life, what was your initial reaction to each other? First impression?
The exact same. I couldn't stand each other.
I didn't know what to expect. I mean, he's so handsome and tall and brooding, and I'm like this little short, okay, hi, nice to meet you. But he was super nice. The first time I met him, we were thrown into a photo shoot together. It was the beginning. We'd been shooting the movie, so it was one of those all right, put your hand here, put your hand there. It was a weird, awkward prom photo. But he was so down, and I was so down, and we were it's one of those things you kind of break the ice.
Yeah, and we both have the same personality to laugh your way through it and just relax and have a good time. And so it didn't take long for us to become mates.
Yeah, he ended up being even cooler than I expected.
My favorite scene in the movie is when you both are jamming out to the infamous Dip song in the car. You guys committed, and I love that, by the way. Love the commitment. So what's your go-to jam song? And you're a singer, so I want to hear it. Let me hear something. Give me something.
Me? Oh, man,
Give
I
me
can't even think of it, but we usually throw on some kind of Destiny's Child, like,
Ooh.
boy, so you got a girl, yes, it is, or like TLC, no, I don't want no scrubs. Scrub is a guy that can't get no. Come on.
No. I'm not embarrassing myself singing next to her again.
Right. Come on, nothing?
I already
What's
do
your
that. I already
jam?
do that.
Come on.
AM to PM by Christina Millian.
Oh,
That's my
mine
jam.
How do you? That is a perfect ending point. You can't top that. What a gentleman he is.
I told the
What
truth.
a gentleman.
I sniffed a little something when they were talking about very quickly getting over the awkwardness. I'm not going to touch you.
Yeah.
I'm not getting over the awkwardness of touching each other.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
They
the
physically, you
prom
could tell their
picture.
body language, like
Yeah.
they moved in.
And throughout the whole movie, there was definitely some prime time chemistry going on.
I will tell you this, read between the lines, this movie is every bit as good as Always Be My Maybe without an appearance by Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, oh, Keanu, yes.
All right, that's it for this week's show. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Oh, wait just a minute! Ladies and gentlemen, it's world famous Mike! It's Mike!
What's going on?
Mike McCann!
Mark,
What are you doing here?
I came to see the Peanut Butter Falcon with my wife.
Oh, that is fantastic.
Did you see this one? Have you
Before we
talked
move
about the
on,
Peanut Butter
there's
Falcon?
nothing to be concerned about. He's a friend. It's not a hostile engagement. We're okay.
That you know of.
Everybody was scared when people start shouting in movie theaters. So this movie, I'm so glad you're here to champion it.
Yes, the Peanut Butter Falcon. Please see this movie. It's like Little Miss Sunshine crossed with Huckleberry Finn, but better than both.
I like that.
My wife and I absolutely love this movie. And everybody's out seeing these big blockbuster movies, which is great.
Right.
But nobody's even heard of the Peanut Butter Falcon with a special appearance by Jake the Snake Roberts.
Everybody, of course you're going to see it because if you do see it, you're going to think, Shia LaBeouf, I'll go try it on for size, but it's his co-star that steals the
Oh, absolutely.
Rule number 1, don't slow me down. Rule number 2, I'm in charge. Hey, what's rule number 1? Party? No, not party.
The whole movie, and Dakota Johnson was awesome too. You didn't expect such an emotional but yet lighthearted, wonderful, feel-good movie.
I know, usually she's tied up, so it's weird. It's a nice departure, right? It's a nice departure.
Yeah,
seeing her
Mark
having
understands
yeah.
that a lot too, doesn't he?
He does, yeah.
Group hug, everybody. On that note, thanks for hanging out.
It's been fun.
Mike, good to see you.
You're on TV over there.
Questions, comments, concerns, join us on YouTube to complete the conversations about any or all of these movies. It's Extra Butter on YouTube. Thanks for hanging out with us. Enjoy yourself.
Thank you.
Get some.
What'd you do with the It doll?